Today we are going to talk about a topic that I believe affects a lot of you out there, and it is how not to enable an addicted family member. So my name is Justin. I was a 15-year drug addict, got over 10 years clean and sober. I serve as executive director of Hand Up to Victory, our nonprofit organization that we've helped thousands of people to start their recovery journey. And I know this is a big deal for a lot of people. I'm sure there's so many family members, so many people out there, and you're sitting there wondering, am I helping my loved one that's addicted to drugs and alcohol? They keep asking me for things. They're making me feel guilty, and they're talking me into stuff. What do I do? How do I not enable them and actually give them some help that they so desperately need? So interesting. The definition of enable is to provide with the means or opportunity to make possible, practical, or easy. So that tells me that if we're enabling someone, we're actually giving them the means or the opportunity to continue to do what they're doing. We're making it possible for them, easy for them to continue to do what they are doing. And that's something that we don't want to do, right? So let's talk a little bit today first about maybe two tactics that someone that's addicted to drugs or alcohol would use against us to try to get what they want out of us. And I'm talking to you today out of personal experience because this is some of the things that I used to do also. So the first one is manipulation. Right? I can guarantee you that your loved one that's struggling in this area is going to say anything, is going to do anything. They're going to use any means to convince you that this is what they need. They need help. They need money for this. They need help with that. A lot of them is they might even just give you a false story, a false narrative like, oh, I really need help with XYZ. I need money for this, when in reality, they're actually using it to buy drugs, to buy alcohol. So we got to watch out. Sometimes that, unfortunately, when someone is in this state of mind, we may not be able to believe everything that they're saying to us. And we got to know that are they using some type of manipulation to get what they want out of me? Right? That's the first thing we need to be on the lookout for. And then this is a big one. I know a lot of people, right? Our loved ones addicted to drugs or alcohol, they may use that guilt against us and try to turn it around on us like, oh, well, maybe to a parent. Well, because you and dad got divorced, that's the reason that I'm in this state. That's the reason that I'm doing what I'm doing. So in reality, it's your fault. And try to make you feel guilty and put that guilt trip on you in order to get what they want out of us. And so, we have to be on the lookout for that as well, and know that that is a tactic that is used. They may bring up the past. They may bring up things that you've done or that you weren't there for them or whatever it is, and turn it around and make you feel like this whole thing that they're going through is your fault. And we're going to talk about why that's not true. How do we get through this? What are a couple of things that we need to know in order to not enable an addicted loved one? And so the first thing is that no is a word, and it's okay to say it. I know it's hard. I know it's really put those lips together and no, that's how the word sounds, right? But it's very hard for a lot of us to do that, but that is an acceptable answer. And in all honesty, we're probably going to have to start saying it more often, right? I know for me, I would ask my mom for everything. I will manipulate her. I will put that guilt trip on her. I would say and do anything I could to get what I wanted out of her. And man, when she finally said no, and then she had to say no about 12 times in a row. And I finally realized, wow, like she's not going to give me what I want. And man, that was hard for me because I knew that, wow, that relationship got cut off. Maybe someone was feeding her this same answer because she finally had the courage to tell me no over and over and over again. For a lot of people out there, if this is you and this is speaking to you, I highly recommend going to Al-Anon. Right? Al-Anon meetings are basically the equivalent of an AA or an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting for the family member, for the loved one. And so they even have a 12-step program for the family member that's going through this. And to kind of sum up, one of the main things that they're going to say is to love from a distance, right? And it's, hey, I love you. I'm going to be here to talk to you, I'm going to try to do anything that I can to actually get you the help that you need. But unfortunately, I don't have any money for you. Unfortunately, you can't stay here. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to do all the things that you're asking me to do for you. And so, man, the first thing you got to know is that no is a word. And this is another hard one for a lot of people. Their chaos is not your chaos. Their chaos is not your chaos, meaning that when people call up and that loved one that's going through it, they got this crazy problem and all this stuff happened, and now they need you to help solve their problem at the drop of a dime. You got to know that you didn't take any part in that chaos that was created. Unfortunately, they're the ones that have created this chaos. And so their chaos is not your chaos. That's important to remember. So no is a word. You can say that. It is okay to say no to people. Next thing I need you to get is that it's not your fault. It's not your fault. I know that guilt trip is going to hit hard. Maybe you're even carrying around some guilt because you did get divorced from your spouse, or maybe you know deep down you were working, you were doing a bunch of things and you weren't there for your son, daughter, whoever's going through this. And so because you're carrying around guilt, now they're using that against you to get what they want out of you, but you have to know it's not your fault. Right? Yes, there may have been some things that you could have done differently in their life along the way up to this particular point, right? But you have to know that every addict or alcoholic has to come to a point where they accept personal responsibility for where they are at in their life and know that it wasn't mom's fault, it wasn't dad's fault, it wasn't all these circumstances' fault. No, it's my fault for the wrong choices that I've made up to this particular point. And until they can accept full responsibility, it's probably not going to be time for them to move forward with that recovery journey anyways. So maybe that's what's going to help you next time. If you come to this point where they're using and turning things around on you and bringing up stuff from the past, you have to know, man, this is not my fault. Yes, I could have done some things differently, but you are not the cause of someone's addiction or alcoholism. I gotta remember that moving forward. Last thing is this is real hard subject for a lot of people, because I've sat down with many parents, with many spouses out there, and they're saying basically, it sounds like you're telling me to give them an ultimatum. Like, I'm not going to help you. You can't live here. I'm not going to give you anything else. And that's just so hard for a lot of people to do. And I have to say, like, that's not what I'm necessarily telling you, right? I'm not necessarily saying go kick that person out after you watch this video. Each situation is a case by case basis. You got to analyze it. You got to see what's going on. You have to see in the situation, are they manipulating you? Are they using guilt against you? Whatever that looks like. But I've heard, many people say to me, well, what if I do give an ultimatum and then they have to leave my house and they go out in the street and they OD and die? I wouldn't be able to live with that guilt. I would always think that I should have done something more. I should have done something better. And so to that, I got to throw it the other way and say, but what if you just continue to enable them over and over, day after day, and because of that, they wind up ODing and dying in your bathroom because they never experienced a consequence for their actions, and it never was that turnaround point that they needed, that rock bottom that they needed to so desperately hit. I know that's hard for a lot of people to hear, but I mean, I could tell you from personal experience, if my mom didn't say no, if she finally didn't say, hey, you're not staying here, there's nothing else I can do to help you out because you keep using me, you keep manipulating me over and over again, I feel like with full confidence I would tell you that I would have OD'd and died in her bathroom at some point, because I used to use a massive amount of drugs in her bathroom because she gave me that place. She saved me from experiencing these consequences many times. And so I know this is a rough one. Right? I know this is a rough one. I'm going to invite you to tell you that it's going to take some prayer. It's going to take talking to some people that are going through the same experience you are. That's the benefit of those Al-Anon meetings. It's going to take just some experience of going through this and kind of learning what works for you and what doesn't, just identifying some of these things that your loved one may use against you. But I just invite you to take some time to think, like, it's okay to say no. Now, you got to know that their chaos is not your chaos. You got to know that it's not your fault. whatever happened up to this point, right? The person, your loved one, needs to take personal responsibility for that. And I pray that that's what happens. I pray that after watching this video that you're going to be able to learn some stuff from this, and that's going to help you in the future, moving on, knowing that you love them. You're going to be there to give them the help that they actually need, but unfortunately, they can't keep getting money from you and keep taking advantage of you over and over again. Don't rob someone of their rock bottom. That's the worst thing that we can do. For every addict or alcoholic, millions of people nationwide, including myself, that struggle in this area, we had to experience our rock bottom. We had to go through those consequences in order to have that wake-up call and be willing to do things that we've never done before in order to get a result that we've never gotten in the past. And so I hope that this helped you. I invite you to go back through our channel. We got so many different videos, guys, of different topics that are going to help out addicts, alcoholics, that are going to help out the family members sitting out there thinking, and it's only me, I can't tell anybody, I'm the only one going through this. You are not alone. So I invite you to just continue to join us on this journey. Check out the other videos. We'll be back with another one soon. Thanks, y'all. You got to start seeing yourself the way that God sees you. Freed us from the slavery of addiction. Bless us in so many ways.
Like it talks about in the Bible, that unity that's going to bring people to Christ.
When you pray those prayers from a place of desperation, no matter what is going on in my life, God has this covered.